am Roberta Glass, and welcome to my True Crime channel. Today, I'm welcoming back Meredith Elizabeth to talk about the arrest of Dr. Grant Robicheaux and his partner, Cerissa Riley. So, welcome, Meredith.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
Thank you for being on. So this week, we had a press conference because on September 12th, Dr. Grant Robicheaux and his partner, Cerissa Laura Riley, he's 38, she's 31, were arrested in Orange County, California, charged with drugging and raping women. They were charged with one count of rape by drugs, another count oral copulation by anesthesia, another count assault with intent to commit sexual offenses, and a fourth count of two counts of possession of assault weapons. So they were found, and they were also found in their apartment ecstasy and rifles, and his phone, which contained what they described as possibly 100 possible victims, videos of women past the point of consent, and him and his girlfriend engaged in. So he was also appeared on online dating rituals of the American male. Ecstasy and rifles were found in his apartment. Meredith, what do you think of this case? Or upcoming case?
I think that this is fascinating for a whole host of reasons. The thing that struck out to me, and there's a number of things, was the list of charges that they had. When you look at it, they both got charged with going down on a woman, which I've really never seen anybody in such a serious case charged with. So they're struggling on this one. The charge that he's absolutely going to be convicted of is having two unregistered guns in his apartment. Why would a orthopedic surgeon have two unregistered guns in his apartment?
Yeah, two unregistered guns. He also had ecstasy. I mean, really a lot of creepy stuff for an orthopedic surgeon. And also the Medical Board of California was investigating him for other things, I guess medical issues, unrelated to any of this. So that's another odd thing.
And from the impression I get is the two of them are really into partying, drinking, and drugs.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely a narcissist. Her, I've seen very little of, but I can't imagine participating in it not being a narcissist. You pretty much see the world as everyone's there to serve you. And I'm telling you, these two people don't think they did anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come from a place that they believe that these victims were lucky to be with them. And they were out drinking, and everybody was taking drugs, and somebody agreed to go home with them.
Yeah.
They recorded it, and they're not going to see what's wrong with it.
Right.
And I can tell you right now, they're going to stand up in court and say, well, do you know how many, this is what we do. Do you know how many women would come home with us? But my question is this.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many people, there's a lot of people online that they could have posted an ad on Facebook or something and got 100 people to voluntarily come over.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they want to meet people randomly to take home? And then you have the whole Bill Cosby aspect of, the fetish of wanting to be with someone who's not going to have the ability to say no to you.
Right.
What's going on with this case?
Right. Well, Monday, Bill Cosby is going to be sentenced. And I'm shocked with the Bill Cosby support, where there's still so many people, after 50 women have come forward, and still men will say to me personally, and I see online saying, well, these women are seeking fame. Bill Cosby is innocent. They're seeking money and fame, when almost all of these women, it's past, it is expired. Their chance of getting any money has expired. They're not so much getting as
them Quaaludes.
Yeah.
He admitted it.
Yeah. He said, I gave it to them like you would give somebody a drink. I offered them Quaaludes. He made it like he didn't stick it in their drink, but he offered it to them like someone would offer you a drink.
Quaaludes is always the timing, where people are out there having, you're at a normal dinner or something, and suddenly people don't in public just take a Quaalude at a nice restaurant.
Well,
don't.
One admitted she did, though. She said, I said I had a, he said, take this, you'll feel wonderful. She was young, and she did, over dinner. So, I mean, I'm saying you're right. In general, people don't, but in some cases it can happen. But
I don't think she was aware of the effect.
Oh no, not like this. She did not want to. You take a drink to feel good. He was, and I wonder if these were really Quaaludes or something else. Maybe like an early GHB or some kind of knock
or a roofie, yeah,
or something way past Quaaludes. I mean, I've heard of
taken Quaaludes myself.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm 38 now. It was a generation
right
older than me.
Right.
But from my understanding of it, people just don't randomly pass out and are non-responsive.
Right.
So he must have been giving them something else as well. I mean, you ask, and it's interesting, this fetish, this sleeping beauty syndrome. I can't remember the actual diagnosis, but it's so well known as sleeping beauty syndrome. And what Bill Cosby, and I'm guessing these two like, is being with people where you're not going to have any resistance, you're not going to have any chance of anybody to say no to you. And that's another narcissistic thing.
Right.
Where I'm going to use you for the purposes that I need to, and you're going to go along with it because you can't say no.
Right.
And Bill Cosby and these two don't think they did anything wrong.
Oh, no. And he's saying, hey, like joking before coming in court. And he called the prosecutor an asshole after he was convicted. I mean, in court. He said, I don't have a plane, you asshole. I mean, anyone else who said that. I mean, I'm surprised. I'm surprised the judge didn't deny him bail right there, but it went.
He would have been walking out of that courtroom.
Yeah. It was shocking. But, and Joe Rogan sort of normalizes it and says, well, I think a lot of people did this in the 70s, gave women roofies.
No,
like if that,
no, they didn't. A lot of people didn't do that.
As if a lot of people doing it would...
There's creepy stories in there, too, where there was like some young teenage girls that were his friend's children.
Wow.
And I heard one or two of the victims come forward, and it was like a family friend that they were close to. And he sort of like isolated her and invited her out to dinner, and then she woke up the next day with no knowledge of what happened. And that was like an uncle to her.
That's what? I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last couple words.
Well, clearly, this is a narcissistic thing where he did it for 5 decades. 5 decades.
Yeah. And he could face possibly, they think, realistically 1 to 4 years because it's only one woman's case. He's not on trial. He wasn't on trial for 50 women, although many women may.
Statute of limitations.
Yeah, may.
So he only got convicted of one.
One, yeah. So it was just the Andrea Constant case. So, but many women may testify at his sentencing, and they're trying to get the judge off. I think they must know something about the judge's tolerance for maybe crimes against women because they tried to get him thrown off of it, saying he was, prejudiced against Bill Cosby or whatever. I'm not sure if I thought that was the reason. I'm not 100% sure, but they did try to get him thrown off, and that didn't work.
So he has the possible sentence of 1 to 4 years?
They think, realistically, it could be up to 30 years, but realistically, with no prior criminal record, it could be, it could be, 1 to 4 years.
That's tough. Because even if 500 women testify, you can only charge with the one crime in front of them.
Yep.
Because if the judge
Andrew
goes over that, that's a constitutional violation. You're charging for crimes you weren't convicted of.
Well, no, it shows prior. It shows a prior history of behavior.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
But to go above the maximum.
Well, the maximum's 30 years. Maximum's 30 years, 30? Which would be 30. 3-0.
And how old is he?
He's 81.
I think 5 years is life.
Yeah, I feel like I just, with so much media coverage, I don't understand how the main issue that these women are not seeking money and fame has not been cleared up. That these women are not they are actually losing money because many of them spent their own money to watch the trial, to watch him be convicted, the second trial. So I don't understand how that cannot be communicated to the Cosby supporter out there who thinks this is all a conspiracy to bring down the black man.
Well, you have the same thing with O.J. Simpson.
Oh, true.
How much more did they have to present with that trial? And Johnny Cochran used the racial divide and said, this was insanely ridiculous. You have O.J. Simpson, who the cops went to, so the white beat up all the time, and they're like, oh, it's all right, just send me tickets. And then they want to claim that they just arrested him because of his race. But they let him go 15 times because of who he was.
Right.
And then no matter how much evidence people saw, they saw the beating, they saw the DNA, which was new, but you saw what he did to her and all the pictures, and still he's innocent.
Right.
There are certain things that some people just want to live in. I do not get it. I do not get the supporters. I don't get it.
I know. It's a little bit like, I don't know how the West Memphis 3 comes up in almost every conversation I have, but it's a little bit like the West Memphis 3. I believe the hardcore supporters, it is a religion to them. They saw the movie, and it is just a belief. It's not based on anything that they can, any evidence. It's just a belief in their innocence. Because all the West Memphis 3 do is point at other suspects that aren't really suspects.
Why do they feel the need to commit to that so much, even when it's irrational? I think
it's a deep identification. Like my best friend said, he cried at the end of the movie. He felt so much identification with them. But the one thing, bringing it back to the Robicheaux case, the one thing that reminded me so much of the Bill Cosby case was that Bill Cosby used his status, his appearance. This guy is very handsome. His girlfriend is very good looking. He's a doctor. He had been on TV to get women. And to answer your question, why did they go locally? I think they had a ritual. They wanted to interact. They wanted to see their victims. They wanted to interact.
And also probably the conquest and the chase.
And the chase. That's right.
And, can we get somebody to do this? And, there's a woman there, so naturally other women feel more comfortable leaving, like, if you're going to go somewhere with a woman and a man as opposed to just a man.
Right. And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Their defense is it's a tough case. And the reason why it's a tough case is, you've never really, I can't remember a time where the press conference they give about arresting the suspect, they then also ask for more witnesses. And that's a signal they don't think their case is strong enough. They
have two victims. And
I'm sorry, not by witnesses. I meant
victims.
For more victims.
Right.
And they were saying if these two victims, you please call the so-and-so police department.
Right.
If they have to do that after they're arrested, they themselves don't believe their case is strong enough, and they're worried about it going to trial. And the reason why is you have to have 12 people to look at a video where it appears the woman is consenting. They're doing things to her that would be considered pleasurable in another situation. If you could consent, there's no bruises on her. They're not tied down. And you have to get 12 people to say, was that woman raped, even though it looks like she's enjoying herself.
Right.
And that's gonna be tough, because this is new.
And in the bill, and people don't understand consent. I mean, it's in the Bill Cosby case, the first trial, one juror thought it was consent, that what showed consent was that she had given Bill Cosby a gift of bath salts, I think it was. It may have been a scented candle, but I believe it was bath salts. And that was the signal that she was down to have sex.
I mean, as it was explained to me with the Bill Cosby situation, every woman says the same thing. I don't know what happened. I woke up and I felt dirty. And, like, he called one of them, like a famous model, next to his wife, and said something snarky and obnoxious. And she said, I just felt so dirty, because he was sitting next to his wife and said that to me. Like, let's do it again. Something like that. And that's sociopathic.
Can you hold on? Okay. So you were saying, you were saying this is going to be a really tough point to case to convict because of the case of the issue of consent. What is consent?
And the problem is, when you want to convict a rapist, what most people are going to want to see are bruises,
mm-hmm.
And a woman who's physically been battered. That's not the question here. None of these women were physically harmed. And if anything, you have video of them being very nice to this woman. And the question is, if somebody voluntarily drinks or takes drugs, does that mean they can't consent to sex?
Right.
And now if you think about it, and every adult in the United States, at one point, they've had voluntarily drank or had drugs, or took drugs, or took drugs,
mm-hmm.
and had a physical relationship with somebody else, and now under this case right here, they would end up in jail.
Right. But we have, we do have, you can't drive, at least in New York City, at .08. You are legally too drunk to drive. You get past the point of consent for sex. You can be too drunk to consent. And if I were a defense lawyer,
absolutely.
I would do exactly what you say. Someone is 2 drinks okay, 3 drinks not, but there had to be some issue with this, with the first victim, or the
defense attorney here. I would say we've all had those nights where your partner had 1 or 2 too many.
Mm-hmm.
If you convict these 2, you could be in jail tomorrow. That person could file charges against you. And the thing is, because this is and absolutely alcohol and drugs compromise your judgment. But this is a fairly new idea. And the only state I think that can maybe get 12 people to convict somebody on this is California. Because they are such a progressive and liberal state. In Texas, this would never even go to trial. Mm-hmm. If they're nervous to try this in California, it's just going to be interesting how this goes.
Right. And to bring it back to Cosby, Andrea Constant, they didn't, Pennsylvania, they didn't want to pursue it until there was so much press on Bill Cosby having had done this so many times. So they had not even wanted to, go to trial with this, but with the same case that they won on years later. So you're right. This is a kind of case that they shy away from. And the facts of the case from the press release is that this the first offense was in April of 2016 with the first victim, and she went to the police the next day. She got drug tested. She met them in a bar at first, then she met them at home. They took her, she went to the police the next day. They drug tested her. she tested positive for drugs, and then a second victim came forward months later with the same story, and it took 2 years for them to press charges. So, and in the
From my understanding, what the problem's going to be is, from my understanding, the victim voluntarily took the drug.
Took the drug, right?
So you also have the question for the jury, well, at what point are you accountable?
Right.
You decided to take drugs and put yourself in a situation where you know your inhibitions would be lowered, and now you're trying to get somebody else arrested for rape. So they're going to also turn, I can't even imagine what they're going to do to the victim.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, well, okay, we have an adult here, who chose to drink, who chose to take drugs in a situation with these two people who were also drinking and taking drugs. And if I was their lawyer, I would also say, and you know what? His girlfriend took as much drugs as the victim did and drank as much, and she's not here asking for him to be in jail.
Right. And
this is a mess.
Right. And he also has he had a charity to give medical attention to less fortunate people. His online handle was In Good Hands. He had been like named the most eligible bachelor at one point of Orange County. It's just like this is, and what was so funny is when he went on this reality show. Now I don't know if they wrote this for the woman to say, but she said, you know, you're too perfect. You must have some skeletons in your closet. So either that was her perception or one of the writer's perceptions. But someone along the lines got a creepy vibe from this guy. But the mask that he used was, I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I've had a charity. I am, you know, your average guy. Oh, and then also the write-up. Did you read the write-up that they wrote for him for the reality show?
No.
Oh, he said he went into his goal. Oh, he was disappointed that the woman didn't drink in the reality show. He found out on the third date she didn't drink, and that was a big turnoff for him. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense now in hindsight.
That's very interesting,
isn't it? And I don't drink, so I was like, oh, well, that goes clear there. And so that was a turnoff. And I wonder if they'll use that in the case. You think? I don't know.
I hope so. That's very telling. That means that he's disappointed that they're going to be in control of themselves at all times.
Right.
And he doesn't like that. That's very interesting. I would.
Yeah, he said he was looking to find the perfect woman. So the perfect man was looking to find the perfect woman. And you know, there is no perfect. We're all, I don't know how you don't know that everybody is flawed and human. But he was looking for the perfect woman. And have a fantasy wedding and raise the all-American family. Those were his deepest wishes.
Well, he's a con man.
A total con.
I mean, what more does women want here?
Yeah.
That's a good selling point. I bet he sold it to a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially what the two of them did was use human beings as sex toys every night.
Yep. Yep. And also, I always think that it has a lot of anger in it. Like, I will do things to you that you can't consent to. Like, you know what I mean? Just like freaking anger. Like, ultimate power and anger and control. I mean, it's rape. You know, rape is about control and revenge. And just demeaning them. I mean, you can really demean someone when they're not in control of themselves. And to me, that is so dark.
Also, I would find it very interesting to see what their relationship is like. Because if he's this controlling of random people, I wonder what the dynamic between those two were.
And while I'm thinking of it, I have a recommendation. There is a great video by the Deprogrammer. That's what the channel on YouTube is called The Truth About Sex Robots, the Dystopian Reality. I didn't write the rest of the title. It got too small for my notes. But it talks all about sex robots, women sex robots. It's basically high sex dolls and how it's furthering rape culture and misogyny. And, I mean, isn't that sort of like the ultimate fantasy of just doing anything to a woman that you want? Ultimate control, ultimate power. It's really the ultimate rape fantasy.
Bill Cosby syndrome. I'm going to do you what I want. I don't want any challenging, and I don't want you to see.
And he wouldn't even have, how dare you challenge me? When I saw him go to court, his look on his face was like, how dare I be here? How dare you challenge me? How dare you accuse me of this? But
he doesn't think he did anything wrong.
No.
These women were lucky.
Yes.
And I guarantee these two have the same defense. And I don't know if they're going to be able to convict them. I don't know if you're going to be able to find 12 people. It's going to be tougher if you have male jurors. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I think that the defense attorney is going to tell every juror, every one of you would be in jail if you convict this person.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I think it's going to be tough. And again, this is irrelevant of my personal beliefs. Just looking at it in an objective way, you're going to have to get 12 people that have been in that situation in one way or another, and it will go for women too, and say if you convict these people, you could be in jail tomorrow. It's a new topic. It's a new what consent is.
And maybe it will be, I hate this phrase, but a teachable moment. God, is that an annoying phrase? But a teachable moment about consent. If this is a high profile case, there's a lot of interest in it now. If this will be a way to teach Americans about what consent is. And
what? As we said at the Brock Turner case.
Uh-huh.
Same thing, where the girl was next to a dumpster, unconscious essentially, and he assaulted her. And, the shopper was screaming. Half people were saying, she didn't stop him. The other half of the country said, this is disgusting, and he only died 2 months. It's a question of, no, he wasn't violent. No, she didn't say no, but she clearly couldn't consent. And you could see the misreaction in the country of what was fair and how long the sentence would be. His life is clearly ruined. I can't imagine being in any sort of office and seeing his resume come in.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Turner and anyone,
right.
They're like, really? We're gonna interview the rapist? So
that's true.
Life's over.
That's true for Bill Cosby too. Even if he gets out of jail time somehow by delaying this because of, I don't know what, that was what one person said, maybe he could possibly delay it for his blindness or whatever. He seemed to get more blind first when he came into court than when he left. But I don't know. After he was convicted, I mean, when he left after he was convicted. But these people also have videos, though. Meredith, this is why I love talking to you about cases, because you are the ultimate defense lawyer. Like, I wish if you were a defense lawyer, if I ever got charged of a crime and needed, I would bring you into my team with my lawyers, because you have such a great mind for a defense. I mean, these guys have video, though. I know that the defense also has access to the same video. I don't know, but
from my understanding, they don't have video of these girls being beaten or saying no, or even from my understanding.
Well, can you say no when you're in that state?
From my understanding, they weren't unconscious.
Oh, okay.
They were conscious. They were just very intoxicated.
Right. Okay.
And I could be wrong about this, but while I was listening to the guy carefully and what, at the press conference, and what he said is, just because you agree to party with these people doesn't mean you then give them consent. And the implication I got from that is they were drinking with them, they were taking drugs with them, And the thing is, they have thousands of these videos.
Right,
If
100.
they had thousands
Yeah.
of videos of passed out women, this would be cut and dry. You put
Right.
up a video of a woman
Right.
non-responsive. That's easy. This is just, at what point where you're drinking and taking drugs are you no longer able to consent? You're still talking, you're still moving, you're still doing everything. But what is the point where you can't consent anymore?
Right.
And what is that point?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. This will be...
Is it the DUI point?
Yeah.
So that's why in my head this is so tough, because it's not, if they were passed out, that's very easy and that's cut and dry. But if they have thousands of videos or hundreds of victims and only two
Right.
forward,
the first victim seems you know, she came to the police station the next day after what happened. She felt like that was, you know, that's the strongest story of the two.
I think the stronger one is the one where the girl actually yelled.
Oh, no, you're right. The second victim yelled for help. Doring, I'm so sorry. You are right. The second victim yelled for help. And the neighbors called the police. That's what stopped it. Very good point. Thank you. So
I think that's pretty
yeah, I was thinking of the drug test and it's sort of you know, at least there's something to verify your story. There's the positive drug test. You know, there's the next day I was rape kit, you know.
And what's making me question this is you hear someone yelling, the cops come, they come and investigate it. What I think is going to be very interesting to find out is what happened between the point where she yelled and the cops came.
Yeah, great point.
My feeling is they didn't restrain her, they didn't do anything to her, which is why the cops hesitated in arresting them. Because if she was tied down and the cops came in and she was tied and clearly yelling, then they would have arrested them then. So all of this stuff is very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will also be interesting what it tells us about the police. How strong were these cases? Were these as strong as they look on paper? Because when you read the press release, I challenge anyone not to feel outrage that between the first two victims, it looks like the police, it was very slow to arrest these people. Like, what happened in those 2 years? What happened? Was it the issues that you're bringing up? Right.
I can't believe they're still looking for victims. They arrested them.
And some victims came forward. And they were successful. They said some victims came forward already. So it would be interesting to see. Yeah, it would be interesting to see how...
I didn't hear that.
Yeah. I just read that today. So it'll be interesting to see how many do come forward.
You know, if you can I'm going to get 5, they'll be convicted. But if you have 5 women come forward, and, you know, women coming forward, you're humiliated, you're going to be called a liar. Your name is, especially in this case, your name is going to be out there. Everybody's going to know who you and your family are. They're going to know, and they're going to rip them apart.
Also, the cross-examination is no fun for anyone. It's called the engine of truth for a reason. And it is tough to testify to an experience and to withstand a cross-examination of something of a traumatizing experience. This is traumatic. What happened to these women?
And also, pulling apart, you're finding out everything you've ever done in your history.
That is right. Alone. I don't even know. I have a pretty, you know, clean history, and I wouldn't like it either. Yeah, I mean, it's another violation, really. It's another violation of your privacy, of your boundaries.
And the thing is, they're allowed to do it, and it's really just horrible.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, no matter what you've done, no matter how many people you've fought with, if somebody violated you, it's irrelevant what you've done in your past.
Right.
But they use it against you. And it's going to be interesting to watch it play out. I hope more victims come forward. I do. If they can establish a pattern, and you have 5 women sitting there saying, I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
I woke up, I didn't know where I was. I don't care what that video tells you. I'm here now. I was not able to consent. I was under drugs and drinking. I went with these people. It never occurred to me that within 2 hours, they would be taking advantage of me. There's a woman there. I thought we were just going to go and talk.
Mm-hmm.
I trusted this woman.
Right.
And my clothes are off 2 hours later, and I drank more than I should have because I didn't think this would happen. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So we will be watching it, and if you are a woman out there and are interested in keeping yourself safe, there is a great book, The Gift of Fear by Gavin DeBecker. Get it. Read it. Thank you so much. Meredith, it's such a pleasure always talking to you about this stuff. And I can't wait to have you back on. Thanks again.
Absolutely.